Welcome back to the Dessert Show, and we're making nutty cookie twists. And you know we need nuts, and whenever you need lots of nuts, a quick way to prepare them is simply with a food processor, or you can even use your coffee grinder. All of these will work to quickly give you the opportunity to ground your nuts at home. Now simply turn it on, and as you can see, it's immediately cutting up your nuts. Also, one way to prevent your nuts from sticking together is to add just a little bit of sugar, and that will keep them separated. Okay, now our recipe today calls for honey. If you don't have honey, you can still make this recipe. What you would do is simply take sugar and, of course, the liquid that is in the recipe, and a good substitute would be like apple cider. And what you would do is you would take 1 1/4 cups of sugar and mix that with 1/4 cup of apple cider. And you would blend it together, and you would create your own version of honey as a substitute, so you can make this wonderful recipe today. And then, just to help you get anything that's sticky moving into your measuring items, like bowls, one way to do that is to spray it with, take your vegetable oil spray it in any surface. Then when you add your honey, it will then move out of your dish faster, and it will be much easier from a cleanup standpoint. And this also works for shortening as well. Okay, what ingredients do you need to make these nutty cookie twists? You need 1/4 cup of apple cider, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1 cup all-purpose flour, 1/4 cup of honey, 1/4 cup of maple syrup, vegetable oil, and 1 tablespoon of roasted pine nuts. Okay, here we go. We're going to begin with the actual making of the dough. I'm going to start by taking my flour, and I'm going to sift the flour using a strainer, and this will keep it light. And you can actually help the process through by using your spoon, tapping along the sides. Now, you're sifting so that you can make a nice light pastry. And this particular cookie, this nutty cookie twist, it actually tastes like a pastry crust, like a pie crust, and then it's topped off with the honey and maple sugar topping, and then the nuts. It's just a really interesting twist for a cookie, and it's easy. It's just a little bit more fuss. Okay, now once you've got the flour sifted, we are going to add the apple cider. Put that aside, and blending the apple cider and then the sugar. And this is a good time to take the rings off, because it's a dough that frankly you're going to moisten, and then you're going to work with your hands. So this is take the rings off and blend with your hands and work the dough, because we're going to try to get it into a nice ball so that we can then roll it out. As you can see, it needs a little bit of work, so I actually like to work it with my hands to know when it's perfect. Now let me show you when it is perfect. I've got it in a ball state right now, and it's on a floured surface so that it doesn't stick. And I'm going to I'm going to roll this out to about 1/8 of an inch in thickness. Simply take a rolling pin, and getting enough space so we can move along here with the rolling pin. And there's no specific size that you have to, you don't have to put it in a circle, because we're going to be cutting it up. So you don't have to worry about being fussy when it comes to creating a perfect round circle. Just simply spread it out to 1/8 of an inch in thickness. And we're going to do that. This is really a fun cookie, in that it's just fun. Everyone will come out different with your own personal signature, and it's fun to actually watch them cook up. Okay, now, once you have an 1/8 if it sticks like this, and let me show you what's happening here. If it ever sticks, that happens, you just simply take a little bit of flour and take your rolling pin and just go over it one more time. Okay, now we're going to take a knife, and we are going to cut rectangles. So coming along here and cutting a rectangle, we're going to come along, and then you're going to cut the center. Now see how I've done that so far? You're going to lift and simply take one side and fold it in the middle. This is where we get the twist. And then place that on a surface, and continue. And each and every one will be different. This part is also a time when you can gather the kids and say, hey, team, I need your help. And they can feel like they're involved in making the desserts and helping you in the house with the things that you love to do in terms of baking. Now for me, not only do I love to involve my kids in the baking process, but I really love to involve them when I'm making dinner, because the kids are not always as experimental in all savories as they are with dessert. It's kind of like they've never seen a bad dessert, but they are hesitant with some vegetables. Well, if I ask them to help me in the kitchen and create savories and vegetables and things of that nature, if they're involved, they really generally always want to try the end product. And so that's a way to get the kids to try more things if you involve them. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to continue using all of this crust and we're going to roll it out and just continue the cutting process. And you know, as you develop little strips, just put it back in a ball, roll it out, and continue. I'm going to now take it and I'm going to put it in hot oil. Now remember, when you're working with hot oil, you want to be very careful that you don't burn yourself. I've got vegetable oil in here, and you take a ladle and you place that twist inside the hot oil and you let it cook. And it will come to the surface when it's done. It'll be a light golden color. And then you're going to be actually making the, you're going to use maple syrup and the honey, and you're going to use those ingredients to create like the topping to get a sweet cookie on the outside and a cookie that has that taste of like a pie pastry crust. That's the combination we're looking at today. Okay, now let it continue cooking until it's golden in color. As you can see, this is just the fun part, just because everything is so unique. Now, when it gets golden in color, I'm going to put it on a piece of paper, and then I'm going to drain the excess oil. So standing by, you never want to, you want to always have a ladle. You never want to dump any of your, whenever you're using a deep fryer, you never want to dump things in because that oil has a tendency to splash. Stand back and have something long-handed. Okay, now, once it comes out, you're going to take it out, you're going to let it drain. That way the oil drains onto the paper towel. Now simply take it over while it's hot, and we're going to mix the honey and the maple syrup. So take the maple syrup, we're going to blend these two together, and this is really important. This is what I consider, this is what makes it taste good. And you simply place that on top while it's hot. That's what gets it to stick. And then you pick it up, and you can add your pine nuts and your powdered sugar. And let me show you what it looks like when it's done. When it's done, this is how they look. You can see that it creates a little glaze, and I just like to create, you know, by adding the powdered sugar, I think it makes it look even more elegant. So sprinkle it with powdered sugar. And you can also, one of the other things with this particular recipe, just to give it more flavor, is you can top it with butter and cinnamon and sugar. So there's a lot of flexibility because this is just a basic dough. Okay, come right back because we've got more nutty things to do.